Hello, my dear friend. I hope you're doing amazing today. Tell me, have you ever felt restless? Like no matter what you achieve, it's never enough. What if I told you the very freedom you're blessed with is also the reason you sometimes suffer? Stay with me, because a strange tale of a hat seller, some mischievous monkeys, and one shocking twist might just reveal the hidden truth about being human. Now, let me take you back in time more than 100 years ago to a small village in India. The sun is merciless that day, pouring heat onto the dry roads and dusty fields. Walking slowly along one of those paths is a man with a bundle of hats balanced on his head. These hats are his only source of livelihood. Day after day, he travels from one village to the next, hoping to sell enough to buy his next meal dot. By the time the afternoon arrives, the heat is unbearable. His throat feels dry, his legs ache, and sweat soaks through his clothes. Finally, he notices a giant tree at the side of the road, its branches wide and generous, casting a pool of shade. Relieved, he lowers his bundle of hats, opens the little packet of food he has carried, eats quietly, and leans back against the tree trunk. The soft breeze, the chirping of birds, and the cool shade slowly lull him into sleep. But when he opens his eyes again, his heart nearly stops. The bundle of hats is gone. He scrambles up, looks around desperately, left, right, behind the tree, nowhere. Panic rises inside him. Without the hats, his day is ruined. His earnings are gone. He feels helpless. Then karma by sheer accident. He tilts his head upward, and what he sees makes his eyes widen in disbelief. Sitting high among the branches is an entire troop of monkeys, and each one of them is wearing one of his hats. Imagine the sight. Dozens of monkeys swinging, scratching, chattering, all while looking strangely human with hats perched on their heads. The man doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Hey!" he shouts. "Give him back!" His voice echoes through the branches. The monkeys pause, stare at him, and then scream back in their own language. Angrily, he waves his arms at them. They wave back. He stamps his foot, they stamp theirs. He throws a stone upward, and they respond by showering him with twigs and fruit. It becomes a comical scene, an entire army of monkeys mocking him, action for action, sound for sound. Finally, karma exhausted and defeated, the man slumps to the ground. In his frustration, he pulls off the only hat left, the one on his own head, and flings it onto the ground. And then something remarkable happens. The monkeys, as if bound by some mischievous law of imitation, do the exact same thing. One by one, they remove their hats and throw them down. The man leaps forward, gathers them all quickly, and with relief flooding his chest, continues on his way. That story, my dear friend, became famous. It was retold for decades in villages across India, a simple tale of wit and survival. But here's where it gets interesting, because nearly a century later, in 2009, something eerily similar happened again. Another hat seller, carrying his load under the scorching sun, finds himself worn out by midday. Just like the man from the earlier story, he spots a tree, sits down in the shade, eats his lunch, and falls asleep. And yes, when he wakes up, his bundle of hats has vanished. Without a second thought, he looks upward, and sure enough, there they are again. A troop of monkeys sitting in the branches, each proudly wearing one of his hats. But this man smiles. He's heard the old story. He knows exactly what to do. Confidently, he claps his hands. The monkeys clap back. He dances and they mimic him. He makes silly faces and they respond with even sillier ones. He laughs to himself. This is too easy. Finally, karma, with a smirk of certainty, he takes the hat from his head and throws it to the ground. He waits for the monkeys to follow, but this time, something different happens. One of the monkeys, larger than the rest, climbs down from the tree. The villagers nearby watch curiously. The monkey picks up the hat, walks straight toward the poor man, and slaps him hard across the face. Then, as if mocking him, the monkey seems to say, "You fool, you think only you had a grandfather?" The crowd bursts into laughter. Now karma, my friend, that ending might sound like a joke, but hidden within it lies a profound truth. Because while monkeys continue to learn, adapt, and evolve, what about us? Human beings like to believe we're always moving forward, always progressing. But here's the reality: monkeys can evolve unconsciously. They adapt naturally, generation after generation. But for us, evolution has changed. We no longer evolve. Unconsciously, Doc, when you were a monkey, don't look at me like that, blame Charles Darwin. You didn't sit on a branch dreaming, I want to become human. Nature simply pushed you forward. You had no say in the matter. But once you became human, nature stopped pushing. From here, either you evolve consciously or you stay stuck exactly where you are, Dot. And that, my dear friend, is where the real struggle begins. Because being human is not a fixed state. A tiger is born a tiger. It never wakes up wondering, am I a good tiger? If it hunts and eats, that's enough. It becomes what it was meant to be. But a human being is never finished. We are born. Incomplete, born with possibilities. One moment you can be compassionate, creative, almost divine. The next moment you can be cruel, selfish, destructive. You are not one thing. You are a flux, Dot, and this flux, this endless possibility is why so many of us suffer. Not because of bondage, but because of freedom. You see, my friend, if your life were fixed like an animal's, you wouldn't feel restless. You wouldn't feel anxious. You wouldn't be constantly questioning yourself. But because you are free, because you can be anything, you live in doubt. You struggle with choices. You feel lost in the very freedom you once desired. Think about it. Every day you wake up with choices. How to think, how to feel, how to act. But how often do you choose consciously? How often do you live with awareness? And how often do you simply react? Most people, without realizing it, live by compulsion. They wake up and repeat the same patterns, driven by habits, fears, and unconscious desires. And that is why freedom feels like suffering, because here's the truth. There is always a way out of bondage, but there is no way out of freedom. You cannot escape it. You can only become aware of it, and that's where the real beauty lies. If you live unconsciously, freedom is a curse. It feels like a weight on your shoulders. But if you learn to live with awareness, freedom becomes the greatest blessing. Because in every single moment, you can shape yourself. You can choose who you want to be. You can create your own destiny. That comma, my dear friend, is the power of being human. So let me ask you, are you living by choice or by compulsion? Are you creating your life consciously, or are you simply reacting to whatever comes your way? Because until you live by choice, you are no different from any other creature. But the moment you take control, the moment you choose awareness, you step into your true humanity. And that is why I say, don't curse your freedom. Don't try to escape it. Embrace it. Because once you learn to live consciously, freedom is no longer suffering. It is joy. It is possibility. It is life itself. So remember this story of hats and monkeys. Laugh at it, yes, but also reflect on it. Because within it lies a mirror for your own existence. The monkeys are still evolving. The question is, are you? And if this story touched you, made you pause, or gave you a new perspective, then share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because sometimes the simplest stories carry the deepest truths. And if you'd like to hear more stories and reflections like this, my dear friend, make sure you subscribe. Because together we'll keep exploring the mystery and beauty of being human.